Right, let's just wait for this to work. Testing. Is volume working? Okay, so I believe we are live right now. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds to catch up. There's a bit of a delay here. It is my first time, so hopefully everything's working. At the top of YouTube, it says the internet can totally see you now. Well, this is it, guys. We have to jump right into it. I've been sitting here hesitating for like the last half an hour. Butterflies in my stomach. You have to do everything live. You don't know how it's going to turn out. But welcome, everyone. This is my first ever live stream on YouTube. It's a bit weird. I'm used to the camera being over there, and now I have to, it's right here in front of me, and then I can see the preview in front of me here. So it's kind of discombobulated trying to figure out where to look and what to do. But we're here. This is the first live stream. So I want to welcome everyone and say thanks for joining me. There's probably not going to be anyone on the chat right now anyway. Oh, speaking of which, the chat is open. So let me get it. Where did it go? So if anyone wants to send questions through, well, there's already a question there. Hello, AJ Lund, welcome. So I'll get to that chat just now, but I want to say welcome again, once again. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, and I hope that you're going to have a great New Year's too. I'm trying to keep things clean and sober, so instead of going out and partying on a Friday night and on the weekend on New Year's, I'm trying to do more productive things that can sort of keep me away from those distractions and help other people at the same time. So, like I said earlier, the chat is live, so if you want to send some questions through as we go through the live stream, I'll try to answer them. Just try to remember, I'm not a doctor, so all my responses are going to be based really on personal experience and things that I've sort of looked up and learned along the way through my experience with testosterone replacement therapy. Okay, so today I'm going to go through one or two little articles that I found, do a case study with you guys on libido, just so that you can see what, how things aren't always as you expect. We'll go through a couple of thank you messages I got on the channel from users over the last week or two. And then I see questions over here, which I will try to get to. So first of all, let's get stuck into the stuff that I've already prepared for today. So it's kind of weird because I can't put anything up on the screen like I normally do when I do my pre-recorded videos. So I'm just going to have to sort of wing this here. So I was online the other day and I saw a really good article by Muscle for Life. And that article was called How Testosterone Levels Affect Muscle Growth. And it was very interesting because this was something I was not aware of. And I learned something too in the process. And the article was based on research, on data, on the science, with all the research listed in his blog article. So I thought it'd be worthwhile going into. But basically, what he's trying to say here is that and I've printed this out so that you can see it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that up on the screen. This is the libido graph that shows you the low suspect range and then the normal range. So basically, his article is saying that if you are in the normal range of testosterone, so you're not low, you're not within the very low levels, you're just within the normal range. If you take testosterone on top of that and you move, let's say, from the mid-range to the higher level of the range, it's not going to have any effect on building muscle in the gym. So just to give you an illustration point, and again, just want to stress, I'm not talking about the low parts here, I'm talking about the normal range. So let's say you're over here at like 450 or 500, okay? And then you take extra testosterone with your TRT so that you get kind of up here, let's say around about 700, right? That boost that you get in terms of muscle growth at the gym is not going to make a difference. It's not going to help you build much more extra muscle. It's pretty insignificant. In fact, so insignificant that it's pretty much pointless. And so in terms of muscle building alone, having a testosterone levels within the normal range kind of at the bottom and having them sort of at the top really makes no difference when it comes to building muscle. Now, as you can probably guess, with the guys that do steroids and that, if you go over and beyond the natural levels, right? Not the normal physiological levels, but the super physiological levels, you know, like 1,000 plus, like the guys on steroids do, then you can see a massive improvement in muscle growth and muscle development when you take testosterone. But within the normal range, it doesn't really matter whether you're at like 450, 500, 600, 650, 7, 800, right? In terms of gaining muscle, it's not going to make much of a difference. Now, I have looked at other studies and research, and having testosterone levels at the low end or the mid to low end of the normal range and having testosterone levels at the high end of the range, there may be some benefits other than muscle gain, that it actually does help to have testosterone in the upper levels, right? But that was not the point of his study and the blog article. It was really to say, like, for those of you that are thinking of using TRT for helping you build muscle and strength at the gym, it's not going to make much of a difference if you're at the mid range or if you're at the high range. You know, in terms of muscle growth, it's going to be pretty much the same. So I'll read a few excerpts from his study here. So just because I'm probably rambling and he gets to the point. So let's have a look here. He says, we already know that dramatically elevating testosterone levels induces muscle growth. Yes, if you take enough of the right steroids, your testosterone levels will skyrocket, and if you lift weights regularly, you will be able to achieve more muscle growth than if you were drug-free. But here's something that most people don't know. Fluctuation of testosterone levels within the physiological normal range does not affect muscle growth. So there we have it. That is, if your testosterone levels are right down the middle normal and you increase them to a high normal, you may feel a little bit better and you may notice a boost in your libido, but it won't enable you to build more muscle. I know that sounds kind of blasphemous, but it's actually been scientifically proven. So in his words, what I was trying to say earlier, so hopefully that makes a bit more sense. It's kind of weird, but you know, that's what the science says, and you got to go with that. Obviously, there are exceptions, but this seems to be the norm. Here's more. He says, or the article says, what researchers found was that so long as testosterone levels were within the physiological normal range, that is between 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter, muscle growth did not change very much. That is, the subjects on the low end of normal weren't that far behind the subjects on the high end in terms of muscle growth. All right, so that's that. Let's get back here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Got to learn how to multitask these things here. Holy cow. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, AJ Lunt. Welcome, NXFKRY. Welcome, Gladiator. Welcome, Mike Lee. No, I'm not related to Jonathan Rhys Myers, but a lot of women have actually asked me that before. So, yeah, there you have it. But let's get back to today's topics on the live stream that I've got scheduled here. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually a case study of a guy. This is actually a friend of mine from South Africa. I knew him. We were friends back in South Africa when I used to live there still. And he actually contacted me a while back about low testosterone and going on treatment, asking me for my doctor's information because he thought he may have. And we've got a very sort of unique case here because for some strange reason, he went and had his blood tested and his testosterone levels tested, and they came back slightly lower than mine were when I got prescribed back in South Africa with this doctor. But for some strange reason, my doctor, who prescribed me at levels that were higher than his, would not prescribe testosterone for him. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't have contact with her much anymore. Maybe she's gotten pressure from above or something like that. You know, maybe they've got her a lot more stricter with the regulations and that. I don't know. But he couldn't get TRT. So, like I tell everyone else, if your doctor's not going to prescribe, look around. He did manage to find another doctor for TRT who was willing to prescribe, and he put him on Nebido. Now, Nebido does seem to be the most common one that is prescribed in South Africa at the moment. I know we get it a lot here in the UK too, but sometimes we get Testosterone in the UK, but Nebido is quite a common one in Europe as well. So, the doctor prescribed him Nebido, and 2.5, 3 weeks later, he messaged me to let me know that he's not feeling anything yet, which is kind of weird because libido does take a while to kick in. It's not like Sustanon or the shorter acting testosterones like enanthate and cypionate and Sustanon. They kick in within a couple of days. Libido does take a while to kick in, right? But he messaged me. He says, what's going on? I don't feel good. I still feel tired. It's been almost 3 weeks, since I've had the injection. So I did a bit of investigation. I asked the usual questions. You know, uh, is this your first injection? First of all, I want to know, because with libido, you have sort of sometimes you should have a preloading phase. In other words, what they'll do is they'll give you your first injection, and then instead of waiting the normal 8 to 10 weeks for your next one, they'll do it after 6 weeks so that you kind of get a boost, and then you get your second injection, and then you sort of maintain from there, just so that it gets you up to where you need to be and then maintains. So this was his first injection, but he should have been feeling something. So I inquired a bit further. I said, okay, so before you started TRT, what were your symptoms, right? And so he came back to me and he said that his symptoms were really just that he wasn't progressing in the gym and that he felt tired sometimes. Now, these are normal symptoms of low testosterone, but usually guys that have really low testosterone, like I've had and like many of you guys have had, um, there's a few more things in that, right? It's anxiety, it's a lack of motivation, sometimes it's libido, moodiness, irritability. It's usually, if you look at let's say you look at the 10 most common symptoms of low testosterone, you usually get at least like 4 or 5 of them, and he only seemed to have two. So it made me wonder, maybe the problem isn't low testosterone, because when he started, I've actually got his results here. I'm not going to say who it is, but he's total testosterone was on a scale of 9 to 27, it was 18, which is not bad. But his free available testosterone on a scale of 174 to 729 was only 288. So that kind of makes sense, right? Even though he's got a significant average amount of testosterone flowing through his body, and he's more or less my age, he was on the low end when it came to free testosterone. So this is an interesting case because he's had libido. I've told him to keep in contact with me. I don't really know what's going on because he should have felt something by now, but I'm not his doctor. So I said to him, if it's 3 weeks, it's going on 4 weeks, go talk to your doctor, go get another blood test done, see where things are. There could be other factors in play here. Maybe his sex hormone binding globulin is high and that's limiting his free testosterone. Maybe his estrogen's gone up and that's made him moody or something like that. I don't know. There's so many factors going into play. You adjust one thing, other things might go out of whack. So yeah, so I wish him luck. I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm chatting with him on sort of Facebook Messenger and that, just to see how things are going, because I do know him. He's a friend of mine, and it's an unusual case. By now he should be feeling at least mood improvements. I think he has a bit unrealistic expectations when it comes to the gym. I think he's stalling at the gym, and there may be other reasons for that, but he should see some sort of positive effect, which hasn't happened yet. So I don't know why that is. So we'll keep on track and seeing what's going on there, and then hopefully I can give some more feedback on the situation, because it's an unusual case. Most guys normally report positive effects almost immediately, but you do get the exceptions that don't report these things. Now maybe that's because the cause of their issues is not low testosterone. Maybe they have low testosterone, but the reason for their symptoms is something else. You don't know. You have to explore all avenues, all options, and eliminate things one by one. If you find you have low testosterone, you correct your testosterone, it goes to normal levels, but you still find you have issues maybe with strength or mood and that, maybe it's something else. Okay, that's that. I want to cut to the chat quickly because I see these messages flying. I didn't think there'd be any messages tonight. Thought I'm going to be here on my lonesome. But there's a ton coming in. So let's scroll from top to bottom. There's so many I have to scroll. So AJ learned. I'm going to go from top to bottom, guys. So please bear with me. I will try to get through all of them. He says, how's your TRT going? Still great? Always good. If I suspect that something is slightly off, I'll have blood work done and chat with Mike or my doctor about it. I am starting to think, based on my last blood work, that maybe my estrogen levels are slightly too high and I may need to introduce an aromatase inhibitor, but I'm not having any sort of physical symptoms of gyno or too much moodiness or anything like that, so it may not be necessary. So I may do a blood test maybe around about February, March, and if the estradiol is still high, then maybe introduce a little bit of an aromatase inhibitor and see how things go there. But I'm still on normal, just testosterone on its own, 125 milligrams every 5 to 7 days, and it's working great. And on top of that, things are really going well in the gym. I've quit booze, I've quit the recreational drugs, I've quit the porn pretty much. I've deleted it all, got rid of all my stash, and those little changes have seen my lifts at the gym skyrocket this year. In fact, I've hit 2 lifetime PRs, which I'll do a video on at another stage, for deadlift and for the squat. And I've still got to test bench press, and the back squat next week, but they're all doing really well. And over a period of 3 months, I've gone from average lifts back up to my sort of lifetime highs, and then done PRs on top of that, just by making a few changes like quitting the booze, getting proper sleep and things like that. No change to the TRT, so that was great news. He says, NXFKRY, I don't know how to pronounce it, says, I'm going to send you a DM because I have a couple of questions. Great, guys, please do that. It's a lot easier for me to answer them, after the fact, when I have some time to think about it, but they're on the fly here now. But he says he's 18, 5'10". Yeah, this is very unusual. I don't know what your case is, but you're quite young. So yeah, send me a message about that, and I'll, when I've got the time, I'll definitely have a look into it and get back to you. AJ Lynn says, I'm currently on Testosterone 250, 1 mil every 2 weeks. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, you should feel good with that, AJ. Well, how do you feel? Let's see what he says. He says, been on TRT since April. I'm considering swapping to Nebido. I wouldn't. I do and feel a lot better on Testosterone than I do on Nebido. Also, what I can recommend doing, this is something I kind of put off for ages. And once I did it, it made a significant difference as well. And that's splitting my injections. So instead of doing one big dose of Testosterone 250, split it into like a 1/2 ml and a 1/2 ml, and maybe do that, once every 5 to 6 days, half, half, half. I found the more frequently I've done it, the more sort of stable the levels go. I've never really had dips on Testosterone, but I just feel more energetic keeping the shots a bit more frequent than doing like one every 2 weeks or so. So that is something to consider. But chat to your doctor, see what they say about it. Been on Testosterone for about 10 days, then it goes downhill. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so he says, yeah, I feel great on Testosterone, but for about 10 days, but then it goes down. Exactly. So that's what kind of happens when you have one shot of Testosterone 250. You'll go up, and then it'll taper off, right? And because you've got those big gaps of like 2 weeks, maybe like, what is it, like 10 to 14 days between each one, you definitely may have a risk of those dips and troughs and peaks come out. So maybe, and again, chat to your doctor about this. This is something I chatted to with my doc about, and they suggested splitting. The splitting worked really well. So instead of having ups and downs like that, you're gonna kind of remain at the top. So do like maybe do 1/2 ml, which is 125 milligrams every 5 to 7 days, and that way you're having more frequent injections and your levels stay more stable. And he gave his trough reading, which is good. I'm glad you're doing blood work. You should do that. The more blood work, the better. Our next blood's on February. Okay. Yeah, get your blood. Yeah, he says he only wants bloods the day before my next injection. That's good advice. That gives you time to come off the peak and down into the trough. That's where they want to see where you are when the TRT wears off. So that's good. I normally also wait till like the day before my next injection. That's when I have my blood work done to make sure I'm at the lowest levels, so they can see where you get to when it wears off. All right. And he says, back to my old self, wink, wink. I don't know what that means. Maybe he's a sex dog like me. Okay. Oh, his Testosterone is free. Oh, in that case, yeah. Then definitely split them if you can. I know Mike from Balance My Hormones, he advises that if you split your Testosterone, because Testosterone, for those that aren't familiar with it, Testosterone is a 250 ml. I'll show you. So here you can see my Testosterone, legit from the pharmacy with the prescription info. So this is a 250 milligram of testosterone vial, right? It's 1 milliliter of fluid, but in that 1 milliliter is 250 milligrams of testosterone or testosterone. Now, the standard prescription is just to do this whole mil every 10 to 14 days. But what we found is that if you split it into like a 1/2 and a 1/2 every 5 to 7 days, it can keep your levels more stable and avoid those troughs like we discussed earlier. This was advised to me, but now what they've told me to do, especially in the UK, they've got strict regulations. if you do split it, what they want you to do is, if you're only going to do half, they don't want you to store the other half till the next injection. They want you to throw it away. So if you're going to do every 5 to 7 days, really you're going to do half in one injection, throw the other half away and inject, and then 5 to 7 days later get another fresh one, open it up and do it. So obviously you use a lot more testosterone that way, so it's not very economical, but it's up to you. It's in your home. You can do what you want behind closed doors. If you want to store a little bit, I don't advise it. I've been advised not to do it, and I'm advising you not to do it. But whatever decision you make, it's really up to you. But yeah, so let's go. But you say you're getting 8 ampules at a time for free, so I guess that's not a problem for you. He says it's easier through. Okay, so Nick's FKRY says it's easier through Instagram. I assume to ask questions. Go to the Facebook page. The place I monitor the most for questions and getting back to people as soon as possible is the TRT Hub Facebook page, right? It's facebook.com/TRT Hub. That's my Facebook page for this channel and for all testosterone related things. And if you send questions there, you'll get answers a lot quicker than really Instagram, which I don't go on too much, but from time to time I am there. Okay, let's move on to next questions. Gladiator asks he asked at AJ, what is your testosterone level? So I guess he might have answered that. Anyway, he says no idea. Yep, get blood work done. Gladiator asks, does TRT have any effects on penis size? I actually did a video on this last week. There's a video up on that, but the short answer is not anything significant, right? If you had really low testosterone, which most people don't, like female levels of testosterone, and your penis was really small, then you may see an increase in size, up to even a doubling in size, in those rare exceptional cases. But for most people that have sort of average sized dicks, even if you think your dick is small, let's say you have like a 4-inch or something like that. I don't know what's small is 3 inches or something, but the average penis size is about 5.2. You're not going to see much of a difference, right? Even if your penis size does grow, it's not going to be anything significant that your lady or that you are probably going to notice. Now, for me, it feels like mine did, just because I think psychologically the testosterone makes you feel better, makes you feel more confident. So you look down there and you're not insecure anymore. You think, yeah, that's not so bad, is it? But does it actually increase in size? Yeah, probably not. Oh, and if it does, it's not going to be anything significant. Let's have a look here. He says mine's got bigger. Yeah. Good. I feel like mine has too, but I never measured it completely, so who knows? Maybe it's gotten slightly thicker. But as long as you feel good about it, I guess that's all that matters. I think a lot of guys are insecure about this kind of thing. There's really no need to. If you look at what the average penis size is, most people are average or maybe even above, because the average I think is like 5 or 5.2 or something like that. And that's in erect state, so not a big deal. It's a big deal if you're above that, but it's not such a, you don't need to worry about that stuff unless you're really small, and then sorry. But I don't think TRT is going to help you anyway, not significantly enough. Okay, Gladiator asks, how much time Paulo spend on TRT? I don't know what you mean, but in terms of education and that, quite a lot. I started off, give me a second. I started this channel to share my experiences, and as I've been sharing it, I've been getting a lot more questions. And the more questions I get, the more I realize how little I know. And so I have to learn more, read more, study more, look at the articles. So my knowledge is expanding, and as it does, I share it with you guys here on the channel, but I'm in no way whatsoever a professional, right? The more sort of TRT doctors I follow, the more I realize how little I know and how much more of a professional they are. And I'm quite humble about that. But as I get knowledge, I'll share it. And as I discover people that have better knowledge, more knowledge, or more qualified to talk about this than me, I'm going to share that on the channel, right? I'm not in a competition with these people. I'm not going to keep information from you guys because I'm worried they're going to get more subscribers or likes or views or anything like that. I don't care about that. I care about helping as many people as possible. And so that's, I'll share the information as I get it. I'll share their info, their channels, their names and things like that, just like I have with Mike from Balance My Hormones. I've mentioned a few other channels on my channel before, and there'll be more coming up in the future because, knowledge is power. So The more you know, the better you can help yourself and improve your situation and get a better quality of life, because nothing feels better than getting your testosterone levels back to what they should be, and then life just goes fantastic. I'm hitting 38 now, and I've never felt better. In my life, every year I'm changing health and all this type of stuff, making changes, making sure my testosterone, blood, health, nutrients, vitamins, all that shit is working. And as I do it, I just feel better and better. Like even quitting booze and the recreational drugs and that, what a change. That's something I've been doing for the last 20 years. And you notice the difference once you quit. What a ramble. Whoa. I'm scared to take TRT because of side effects. Okay. Low testosterone has much worse side effects than having your testosterone levels go back to normal with TRT. In fact, like I just said in my long ramble, if you get your testosterone levels back to normal levels and they were low, there's pretty much no side effects, right? If you do it properly. Now, a lot of guys have, individual cases where maybe they'll need something above just testosterone. They'll need a aromatase inhibitor or something like that. You have to work with your doctor to figure that out. But you're always going to be better off, at least in my opinion, sorting your testosterone out and going on TRT to make sure your levels are normal than if you stay in the low testosterone level situation. Okay, that is hell. I can't imagine anyone would want to stay there. I mean, that is the depression city. That is low energy, lack of confidence, insecure. Oh, just thinking about it is making me depressed. If you've got low testosterone, don't even hesitate, right? I found that a lot of the symptoms, a lot of the side effects of too much testosterone, like let's say the guys that take tons, the steroid guys, the bodybuilders and that kind of stuff, those side effects that they get are almost identical to the side effects that you get when your testosterone is low, right? They're almost the same, aggression, irritability, problems with your dick and erectile dysfunction and that kind of stuff. So they're almost like the same. You have too little, you got side effects. You have too much, you got side effects. The sweet middle ground is in the middle, right? At the normal levels. That's where you want to be, pretty much no side effects, unless one or two things pop up. But that's worthwhile dealing with than going to those side effects at the low or the extremely high side of things. Okay, give me a second. This chat is rocking. I'm so chuffed, guys. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I really wasn't expecting this. Let's continue. Is testosterone cypionate the best type of TRT? It really doesn't matter, guys. I think I was watching a podcast today, and I think the difference between testosterone cypionate and enanthate is like one molecule, right? So one molecule, one atom. I'm not sure of the scientific composition, but it was so minute. So really, it doesn't matter what testosterone you use, as long, if it's, you just got to make sure that you're using the right testosterone correctly. If it's a shorter acting testosterone, you got to do your injections or your applications more frequently. If it's a longer lasting injection, you don't have to do it as frequently. You just got to make sure that for the testosterone that you use, you stick to the right protocol. But more or less, I don't think there's much of a difference. Really, it's the treatment, the application that makes all the difference. Avoiding the peaks, the ups and the downs, the peaks and the troughs. Making sure that your blood levels are stable most of the time. Then you should be good. Give me a second. Okay, following on Facebook now. Thank you. It's the easiest. It's a pretty new page, so most people don't know about it. I have put a link to the Facebook page in the links of this channel, so you can get to it from there. But it is new. AJ says, I'd like enanthate, but to be honest, my doctor said no chance. Okay. Yeah, the doctors, they really hit and miss. I was looking at watching podcasts today, and sometimes you get really cool, open-minded, experienced doctors who see through all the bullshit, who are educated, they have the experience to make informed decisions, and then you have the guys that know pretty much nothing. They've got such a limited amount of knowledge that they don't want to sort of stray out of that, and they just have these narrow-minded suggestions or solutions to your problem, and anything that you suggest outside of what they know is like blasphemy to them. They don't want to know it. they reject it, they're not interested, and in that case, it's probably better just to find another doctor. It's hard though. I mean, it took me about, geez, I can't remember, maybe a year and a half just to get treatment in the UK. So I certainly sympathize. I know in the United States, it's a lot easier. There's a lot more open-minded practitioners out there, but in the UK, it's still tough. And I'm not even sure about Europe. That's something I'm still learning about. But I'm sure it's going to be hit or miss as well. It really is hit or miss. You might just walk into a doctor, and that they're like you and I. They like to do a lot of research. They keep up to date with the times, and then they'll be more open-minded to prescribe. But if you just walk into a doctor who's studied his degree, his PhD, whatever you need to qualify, and then he hasn't learned anything else in the last 20 years, you're probably not going to get successful treatment with him. Okay. Leroy says, there's no need to waste half an ampule. It keeps good. I believe it does, but because there's strict regulations in the UK, even though they're unreasonable, you know how government bureaucracy works, doesn't have to make sense. If they make a rule, you have to stick to it. So there, a lot of practices will tell you not to keep the other half, to toss it. But that's why I said, wink, wink, what you do behind closed doors is up to you. But they just want to cover their asses in terms of risks. So their advice, most practitioners are going to tell you to toss the other half just to cover themselves, to say that, they told you to do it, but if you disobey it, then you're responsible for that. It's really just a responsibility thing. They don't want to be sued or, have their practice destroyed because they gave out bad advice. But again, it's all about thinking for yourself and making your own decisions. Take recommendations, do your own research, and take it from there. My hair is thinning. TRT might fix it. Twisted Hippie says, my hair is thinning, TRT might fix it. That's a question. He says, no family history of baldness on both sides. When it comes to hair and baldness, Twisted Hippie, it's really a genetic thing. I've seen both sides of things. I've seen guys like myself who had started balding and then it stopped. And actually their hair just, got it slightly thicker again. There was times before I started TRT where in the mornings, I would literally, wash my hair and I would find like loose pieces of hair in the sink and that for a while. And when I started TRT, that kind of stopped and reversed and my hair's remained there. I'm 38 in a month. My hair's pretty good. And I've got a history of baldness on both sides of the family. So I should be bald by now, but I'm not. I'm going slightly gray over here, but I don't think that's related to the TRT at all. I don't think the TRT stopped the thinning. I think what happened was with the TRT and lifestyle changes I made, I was not stressed anymore. And so that lack of stress, just being stress-free, I think sort of slowed the aging process and the hair loss and that kind of stuff. I think stress plays a big factor, which is why a lot of people in the West do go bald quite young. But it's up to genetics. So it's hard to say. I've heard cases where guys, especially guys that use a lot of testosterone, especially, I mean, you've seen it with bodybuilders and that, why are they all going bald? They have thinning hair now. It's because they're using crazy amounts of androgens, right? Which is known to sort of speed up, may speed up the balding process. But with TRT levels of things, I think I've seen cases where it has happened. So it's hard for me to say it's not going to happen, but it really depends on the individual. So that doesn't really help. But yeah, in my opinion, it's worth the risk, right? If your hair starts thinning, or let's say you even go bald, but you cure all these symptoms of depression, anxiety, lack of motivation, erectile dysfunction, blah, 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 all that list. You cure all of that and you have to sacrifice your hair for it, I'm willing to do that. And I don't really have the best, features not to have hair. But if I had to say, okay, you're gonna have to lose your hair in order to feel great and have TRT, I'd be prepared to do it, knowing what I know now. Thank you. Okay, let's see what else is here. 250. Anirban says, I'm on test enanthe, 250 milligrams every 9 to 10 days. That's quite a lot for about a year. And currently my levels are 13.9. Before TRT was 2. Is my test levels dangerous for my health in the long run? That still looks quite low. 13, I think the sort of usual cutoff point to be considered low for treatment is 12, so you're just above that, but you're still quite low. Most guys would probably get treated still at 13.9, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say, based on one reading like that. There's so many other hormones that you have to take into consideration. I used to think it was easy that you could just look at your, let's say, your total testosterone or even your free testosterone, but there's a bigger picture that you have to look at. So it's hard to say. And you were really low to start off with, so the doctors will probably have to explore, why were you so low to start with? Do you have some sort of, there could be a head injury that's affecting your pituitary gland. There could be some sort of hypogonadism. There might be a problem with your testicles. You don't know. You have to explore all these things and figure it out. There's usually a reason if you have very, very low testosterone. But I hope that you feel better, because going from 3 to 14 is quite an improvement. So let me know. How do you feel in the comments? I don't know exactly what the problem is, because you asked, is your test levels dangerous for your health in the long run? No. Low testosterone, like levels of 2, is dangerous for your health, but 13 seems fine. So, yeah. And again, this is just my opinion. This is based on my experience. So if I miss something here, guys, bear with me. I'm literally on the fly here, but I've got to work with the information that you give me. So if there's something missing, yeah, I just have to do the best that I can with what's available. Okay, have I missed anything? Let me go. I'm going to do one last sweep through the questions just to see if I've missed anything. Okay, Gladiator says my total testosterone is 155. Yeah, Gladiator, that's low. Get help. I don't know where you are, what country you're from, what your situation is, but you definitely need to get treatment. And don't try not to do self-administration. I know a lot of guys come to this channel looking for information so they can do this whole thing on their own. Don't do that, right? I'm never going to recommend doing it on your own unless you've been doing it with supervised medical help for many, many years. You understand everything better than I understand it. Then maybe you've got a case for taking matters into your own hands and doing it manually. But when you start off, it's not a good idea, because it's just a complicated scenario. It's not one little thing, like a fuse that you have to fix and then the whole circuit works. There's a whole bunch of pieces that fit together. You change one and it might mess up a few others. So you have to sort of take everything in a holistic view and treatment when you start off, especially when you start off. Do you want me to dry mouth here? Okay. Yeah, Twisted Hippie says my E2, which I think is estradiol, estrogen, is below range. Yeah, that's not good either. I believe that you're supposed to have within the normal ranges, you should have the estrogen in the normal ranges as well. So again, talk to your doctor about that. There may be a reason for that. I'm not quite sure. See, estrogen is not a big thing for me. Like my last blood test, my testosterone levels were high, and my estrogen, estradiol levels were fairly high too, but still within the normal range. I've never had the need to take any sort of other drugs like an aromatase inhibitor to combat that yet. But I've always said I'm open to it, and if the opportunity arises and it can make some sort of improvement, I may address it. So that's why in the new year I may look at an aromatase inhibitor, but I've never had the need for it, so my experience with it is very limited, I'm afraid, for now. Okay, that looks like most of the questions. I think if I've missed something, then just send another message through, guys. So yeah, so that's okay. So I just want to read you a couple of success stories, because we are going into the new year, and it's kind of nice to sort of look back on the year gone by and read a couple of success stories of people we've helped. I mean, there've been quite a few, but I've just taken the most recent ones over the last couple of weeks because it's just quite a mission to get all the way back to those past messages, and I think I have covered a couple of them in videos before. But just in terms of the progress we made on the channel this year, it went really well. My goal was to get to, like, not that subscribers or views matter, but really I want to just help as many people as possible. But those kind of things give you a gauge of where you are, and my goal for 2017 was to reach 1,000 subscribers and 250,000 views. And we exceeded that by quite a bit. We're past 1,500 subscribers right now and climbing. And views, we didn't just reach 250,000, we almost made 500,000. I think we're on about 470, 480,000 at the moment. So that was quite nice. But really the best feedback engage I get is from the people that send messages, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, in the private messages. That really gives me an indication of the job we're doing, and especially the guys in the UK. We've managed to help a lot of guys this year working with Balance My Hormones. Now, I probably will be working with them a lot closer in the new year. We're still going to discuss some sort of relationship. I still don't have any affiliation with them. I just recommend them because that's who I get my TRT through. And lots of other guys have helped on this channel get it through Balance My Hormones. But I'm going to see if there's other services next year. But me and Mike from Balance My Hormones are going to have a chat in February to see, how we can expand this, because I'm going to be growing my blog and website. I'm going to be putting out a lot more articles, a lot more helpful videos, how-tos, how to inject testosterone, beginner guide, ebooks to TRT and that kind of stuff, so that we can help more people, get the information out there. Because even though there's a lot of information on my YouTube channel and starting on the blog, it's kind of scattered, and all in a sort of disarray, not too well put together. So I want to sort of organize that properly for the new year. That's my goal for 2018. Get everything organized, put tons of helpful information out there, so that anyone that needs info about testosterone replacement therapy, especially if you're a beginner, can start in one place and sort of go through everything in a logical, chronological order and get educated in an easy to understand way. But anyway, so let's read some of these success messages quickly, because the time has flown, which is really nice. So, give me a second, guys. Okay, so the first message says, Paulo, thank you so much for making the video on dating and low testosterone. Honestly, mate, if I didn't come across your video, I would seriously think I'm losing my mind with the shit I'm feeling within myself. So this guy has more issues with sort of anxiety and mindset and that, and TRT can help for that. I think a lot of people think that TRT is going to cure depression, cure anxiety, and those types of things. Those are psychological issues. TRT can make you feel better, can help you make lifestyle changes that will improve your symptoms of depression, anxiety, things like that. But it may not always cure it. So just be aware of that, because a lot of guys think TRT is going to cure it. It may improve it, but that's a topic for another day. He says, I've been diagnosed low testosterone after a testosterone crash, which is of my own fault. And what came with that was so much emotional pain, stress, depression, and ex-girlfriend problems to resurface that I thought I was past and over already. So, he started off quite negatively. He was in a bad space, and it looks like that getting on TRT. I imagine he was probably doing steroids in the gym, and that this particular guy looks like he's buff and shredded. So I imagine he went through a few cycles, and then his testosterone levels crashed afterwards. So TRT seems to have helped him, which is good, You don't judge people. Everyone's got a unique situation. Some of us are naturally low. Some of the guys are self-induced, but you don't want anyone to feel like that. It just feels like shit, as we all can testify to. He says, also, I want to say thank you for helping me without knowing you have helped me. Every time I start to overthink about my ex and remember old shit, I watch that video and it reminds me it's the low testosterone right now, not how I really am. So that's quite encouraging. Here's another guy. He says, thanks, bro. Totally understand. You must get swamped. Your vids and general knowledge, putting messages out there for people like me, have been a lifesaver. Great to hear that. Serious, mate. What you are doing is really good thing and very selfless. Hope you have a good Christmas, and I will keep you posted. Thank you to Mr. Anonymous. Have a good Christmas too. And finally, this is a bit of a long one, guys, and then we're done. It says, hi, Paulo. I would like to thank you for the content on your channel. After feeling the symptoms of low T now for around 7 years, wow, and discovered what the reason could be, I went to the doctors and they agreed to test me. My results came back in range, so they said they wouldn't look into it further, so I presumed it was something else, possibly depression, which made me feel worse. I came across your channel in August and realized my results of 10 nanograms per deciliter was actually low, so I contacted Balance My Hormones. They arranged for further full blood tests, which came back with the same low total T, extremely low free T, and estradiol. My doctor before wouldn't check free T unless my total was under range. I have now been prescribed Testosterone 0.5 ml every 5 days. That's like me. The process with Balance My Hormone was excellent. My contact was called Daniel, who I know, he's a great guy, who took me through the whole process from start to finish, always updating me and answering my many questions. I can't recommend them enough. So after a year of thinking I must just be depressed, I now look forward to seeing some improvement. I've just taken my first injection today. Thank you, and thank Balance My Hormones, especially Daniel. And so, I don't have your name here, but good luck to you. I imagine I'll be hearing a follow-up message about this soon because he's only had his first injection, so hopefully that goes well. Right, let's see where we are. Got to get all these things open. This is quite a multitasking challenge here. Okay. Fernando says, are you on Get as well, Paulo? I think he means TRT. Yes, I am. That's exactly why I talk about it. Because I didn't know much about it when I started. I even thought it was steroids and that's bad and that you shouldn't do it. And you feel all ashamed to go into it, but there's really no need to. And so I wanted to share the message with as many people as I could. AJ Lunt says, Paulo, I considered switching to balance my hormones, but deep down, I couldn't really afford 60 to 70 pounds per month with other bills on top. Yeah, it's a lot. Trust me, it's a lot. If you can do it through a normal doctor for free with the NHS, I always advise that you try that first. I tried for a year, but it was hopeless. But yeah, it can be a lot. And 60 to 70 is basic package, right? Now, if you've got a complicated case that requires a bit more other medication with it, it could be more. But again, like I tell everyone else, if it's a matter of paying that and getting treated and feeling great and having your well-being and life go back to what it should be, it's worth the money compared to not paying it and not getting treated. Like I can't imagine living with low testosterone again. It's just it's a miserable existence. It's really bad. But I don't want to end this podcast or this live stream on that note. Let's rather say, if you feel you have low testosterone, go get checked. Talk to your doctor. Don't give up. Persist. If you do come back with low testosterone but you can't get treatment, go see another doctor. Check out the videos on my channel that you can use to help you find other means of getting treated. And it's worth it. It's worth it to get treated. It's going to literally be life-changing for many people. It was for me. Got me out of my shitty job, gave me motivation, it got me progress at the gym, got me out of the house, got me feeling more confident. It is life-changing in a way. Now, obviously, you have to put in work over and above that, but it gives you that boost, that confidence, the mood improvement that you need to just push forward, and have a great life and feel good. So, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Let's see if this thing can tell us how long we've been recording for. Maybe YouTube will tell us. Nope, that's just my head. Okay, well, I'm going to cut it there. So I want to say thank you to everyone for joining me. I'm so shocked that there were actually people on the chat. I thought I was going to be sitting here talking to myself. Have a good weekend. Don't get up to too much trouble. It is New Year's weekend. I think it's on Sunday. Remember to take care of your bodies. You want to do everything you can. But New Year's, I guess, is one day of the year that you can make exception. I won't be. I'll be keeping it clean and sober. But I hope you guys have a good New Year's. Have a great 2018. And if you have questions, go to the Facebook page or to my YouTube and just leave a comment or question there, and I'll get back to you when I have time. I'll be getting a lot more involved in the channel this year and getting to your questions and trying to help as many people as possible. But yeah, have a good year. Send me your questions. And if the feedback on this live stream is good, the chat looks good, if the feedback's good, we'll do a lot more of these in the future. Have a good one. Happy 2017 and happy 2018. And I'll see you soon.